Thank you guys for tuning in to Music Mondays New Mexico. I'm actually here with the Chris Cordova Latin Jazz Quartet today. You know, we fluctuate in numbers apparently, but this was the musicians that we were able to get into our studio today to end up hearing that lovely performance. We're going to go ahead and go through and talk with each of the members and, you know, have them introduce themselves and kind of talk about their instrument and their role in the band. So, Chris, let's go ahead and start with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I really got into Latin jazz music about 6-7 years ago. I've always been into regular jazz and funk and all that. And I ran into a really nice friend named Steve Powers who turned me on to the Latin jazz thing. And I've been studying that discipline for some time. It's allowed me to meet so many wonderful players. So what we do now is we try and put everything into a Latin jazz style. And I'm always at school with these guys. You know, with the performance you heard them play, and I've never known that Latin was such a discipline, and more discipline than any kind of music I've ever played before. So wonderful, and you know, you can just play for hours and hours, and these guys just lay it down. I'm fortunate to have some of the best guys in town play with me. We're generally a trio. I mean, I'd really like to be at least a 5-piece with 3-piece percussion on at any given occasion, because as you heard, it's amazing what these cats do. But I'm fortunate that Tomas White, who's playing with us today, and Tony Quinones, and it turns out everybody knows each other. And it's funny, we come in, they're saying, "Oh yeah, I got an extra head for you." And, I mean, the Latin community is very, very close-knit, and I'm blessed to have been allowed a peek into the whole thing. And I'd like to also get a send-out to my good friend Carlos Cordova, whose uncle many years ago taught him to play Latin jazz bass, and that is a whole other kind of thing too. There's very few people that can actually do it. The one is never on one.
Right.
And so these guys lay it down, and sometimes they call me Chris Sin Clave Cordova.
Never heard that before. Never heard it.
Anyway, we've been having a good time with this, and we're going to keep pursuing this art form for some time. Something called Green Dolphin Street. And for many, many years, jazz guys have been taking movie themes and turning them into jazz, and now we're turning it into Latin. So you guys may have seen me, my good friend Tony says, hablas. So tell them, Tony, about what you think about how bands should play and communicate together, because it's ideal.
Well, what I envision is, and all the years that I've been playing, is we have a conversation between the four of us. And it starts with him, and then him, and then me and him. And we talk to each other musically.
Bottom line is our arrangements are always different, but we're having a conversation. So he says hablas, that means you take a solo, you talk to people about it. So we're gonna do a tune called Guataca City, and it's basically what we call a montuno. Now, montuno is a repeated rhythm, and that's always time for the percussion to play. So when you hear a Latin band and somebody starts doing something like that, a repeated rhythm, then that means it's time for these guys to habla. So,
And a lot of times we talk to each other, and a lot of times we solo. So my friend here will solo, and then I will solo, and then we'll go back to the bass, and the bass will solo, and then the piano will solo. So we'll all be talking to each other, but one at a time.
that goes.
Dale.
I'm just gonna do a straight up montuno.
Dale, dale.
As far as doing gigs, it sounds like you guys have been able to do some gigs with the pandemic, going on. It's kind of nice because we're starting to see things open up. But you were saying you guys have a consistent Friday and Saturday gig going on?
Yeah, we play every Friday from 12 to 2 at Old Town Farms. It's an outdoor gig, a really great place. And then we play Saturday from 2 to 3, and that'll continue forever. We had a couple of months off, and actually brought on a recording project during that time. And, sometimes Tomas and Carlos will come over. Sometimes I'll go over to Tony's, and we just work on playing all the time. So we really didn't stop playing, but we stopped playing for a living for several months now. And it's okay. There's some gigs coming around, and there's always some place to play music.
So as far as our percussion, have you guys always just been auxiliary percussion? Did you start on drum set and then kind of like listen to the intensity? Because you guys feed off of each other really well. I really enjoyed that.
It's supposed to be that way. I mean, it's a conversation that we're having musically. I hold down the beat. He does what he wants to do because I'm holding it down.
Yeah.
And when he's holding it down, I do the soloing, as it were. But there is what I would call a science. And for me, that science is to actually listen to where the beat is. You can play around the beat as long as you come back to the beat. And that's what Latin, for me, signifies. I grew up playing since I was 5 years old. I have children that are also players. And Latin percussion is the main thing that they do. They do other things, but Latin percussion. And the thing about being a Latino, I'm Puerto Rican, and that was in my cradle already. My grandmother,
Yeah.
my grandmother's grandmother.
Right, right.
So those things kind of like live inside of you. And playing with these guys, it has been pretty outstanding because we listen to each other. Even if we're playing over each other, we're still listening to each other. So the beat never fluctuates. I mean, it has, but I'm saying it's not supposed to, but it has a tendency to just flow. And if I'm soloing, he's backing me up, he's backing me up. The bass is our constant meter.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And then the piano, of course, playing melody. So we've come to this conclusion of being able to converse musically with each other without saying a word. Maybe just looking at one another.
You'll notice we set up so we can look at each other.
Exactly.
Because, we play a lot of the same tunes, and we try and do traditional Latin tunes, and they're beautiful, but things can change on any given
On a dime.
on any given occasion, and so we're always watching each other. And these guys are like they're like mind reading. Carlos reads my mind. I'm not saying anything, and he says, "Oh, okay, he wants to change to the chorus now." So
Yeah,
I guess you'll see that in the video. You watch that.
Performance today, yes.
These guys are cool.
Yeah, we can trip over each other from time to time, but it doesn't deviate from what we're doing. In other words, I'll do something, and Tomas will go like, "What was that?" But we're still in the beat. Whatever happens, we're going to come back together.
In Killer Joe, you laid down that
Yeah.
counter rhythm that we don't do that all the time, and it was like I was just grooving on it, man. It was great.
Yeah, you were like fitting like right in between the beat every once in a while with some of the accents, and like the low end resonance of these were pretty intense, and I was enjoying that. So
Good. Well, thanks for having us. It's a real pleasure to be here. I've known Tony since
Since he was a child, before he shaved.
since the late 70s, early 80s, and we played together off and on certain occasions. I did want to say that I normally play the trap drums,
okay,
but today we decided to go with congas.
okay.
And so you can hear us with all kinds of different percussion going on, not just this setting, but all kinds of settings.
And we're going to send this out to a recently deceased piano player, Chick Corea, who has so much influence on all of us.
Oh,
And he passed away. And
unfortunately.
a song called 500 Miles High, because Mr. Korea is 500 miles high now.
That's for sure.
I did end up picking up at one point that you were considered as the mentor for kind of the band from the Latin perspective. Did I end up hearing that correctly?
I wouldn't go that far. What I would say to that is that, for instance, Tomas and I know each other for a long time.
Yeah.
Chris is beginning to really understand the dynamics. And so, and I don't mean that in any kind of way. I mean, he's just now coming into the forum.
No, man, we're always all in school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that being said, we have become very versed in conversing with each other, if that makes any sense. And I'm saying this because one of us can fall while we are doing our thing, and the other ones, we pick each other up. Either way.
It's beautiful. It's definitely one of those, like, music is going to be the silent conversation that you only end up having with these other individuals that you end up having this chemistry with. So you even brought in the science and music, and from an outside perspective, it does end up seeming a little interesting, but in the moment, I can definitely see where you would end up getting that kind of feeling, that kind of vibe from it.
Like I said, I come from a musical family. My father was a musician. My mother was a singer.
Julia.
Yeah, Doña Julia. Yes. So anyway, having said that, I have 3 boys, 1 girl. They are no longer boys or girls. If they heard me say that, I'd probably cut my tongue. However, because they're grown up, but all of them are very versed musically.
Cool.
So it's been, for me, a blessing just to feel what I feel inside.
Great.
When I don't play music, I'm mopey.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So one thing that I did want to end up bringing up is you did end up providing us with a video about something very near and dear to your heart. Would you please be able to elaborate on?
I would love to talk to you. It's very important to me. About almost 3 years ago, my wife died of a heart attack, and she loved Latin music, by the way. It was a very sudden thing, and we've all lost a lot of people. So we work with a gentleman named Tony Lujan, who's a world-class trumpet player. He lives here now, he's retired. So Tony and I are really good friends, and we've known each other since we were very young. In fact, I was around in the marching band when he was playing in the marching band in 70-something at UNM, and we've known each other forever, all of us. Anyway, Tony is a really close friend, and the day of the funeral, he came and he brought me a sheet of music. He said, I wrote this for you and your wife, and it's called Cerca de ti, or Close to You. Mm-hmm. And so I couldn't play the thing for almost 3 years. I couldn't even look at it.
Yeah.
But during the past 2 or 3 months, I said, you know what? I started working on it and listening to it, and I started talking to these guys. And, we were all really careful about the masking thing. And so they helped me put this whole thing together. So it's a beautiful, beautiful song. And I really think with the pandemic, and we've all lost a lot of people, that it's appropriate to joyously celebrate the people we lost, because, they're gone, but they're always with you.
siempre estarás en mi corazón cerca de ti. When God took your life, God took your life before me. I didn't know what I had, know what I lost, but God took your life, God took your life before me. Though that you're gone, you remain close to me. Although that you are gone, although that you're not near, you will always in my heart, and always you'll be close to me. Although that you are gone, although that you're not near, you will always in my heart. Know that you are close to me. Si Dios te quita la vida antes de mí, o moriré contento y feliz antes de ti. Aunque no estás, aunque no estás, tú siempre estarás en mi corazón cerca de mí.